It's a beautiful day out there. Time to explore. If you find yourself in the Chiricahua National Monument and you want to see some history of the first settlements in this area, what your option is Faraway Ranch. Now, there's two ways to get to Faraway Ranch. Down the road from the visitor center, and you'll pass it on the way in. On the left-hand side, you'll see a parking lot for it. If you have an hour and a half, just to walk around there, that's the way to go. Sorry for the jerks in the video. We're right next to the road, so sometimes got to wait for a car to pass. But if you have the time, and we're talking 2 hours, much nicer way to do it. You see more. You just go down to the parking lot, you see 80%. This way you see it all. So the better way to do it, stop by the visitor center, give them $2 to pick up this brochure. Then come across the street to Silver Spur Faraway Trail. It's going to give you a nice walk through the woods, and at the parking lot you may see most of it, but there's going to be things you miss if you go there. And most importantly, the bear cage. Got to see the bear cage. So start here, better option if you have the time. Beautiful walk through nature. And let me show you what we're talking about. This gives you an idea of the environment you'll be walking in for the first half, and the odds are you are going to see wildlife. We saw deer, we saw turkeys, somebody told us they saw a fox, plenty of birds. First stop along the trip is these fireplace chimneys. These fireplaces were part of the former CCC mess hall, and after that, it became the Silver Spur Guest Ranch, which was the dream of Ray and Ruth Kent. To give you a rough estimate of the size of the building, I walked between the two chimneys and I counted out 27 paces. And right behind the fireplace chimneys is the Silver Spur Meadow. Saw a turkey there, tried to get a video of it, but the turkey was not cooperating. Now, as you're walking down the path, keep your eyes turned up the hill, not into the meadow, because you're going to be looking for the bear cage. If you're anything like Melanie and I, you walked by it once or twice and had to keep looking, which is why I say get the brochure at the visitor center, because it has a map in. It will show you the approximate location of the bear cage. So why is it a bear cage? Well, here's the story. Sima was an orphan black bear cub that the CCC boys brought to the camp as their mascot. Sima stayed in the barracks each night until the bear took a liking to shoes. This cage became his new sleeping quarters and had a door for easy access. By Sima's first birthday, he was too big for the cage and was released in the barefoot area of the Coronado National Forest. As you continue down the path, off in the distance you will see the Stafford cabin. Jehu Stafford came to Bonita Canyon with his wife Pauline in 1880 and filed for a homestead. His original one-room, dirt floor log cabin grew with his family. Jehu earned his living by growing vegetables and fruit, which he sold to the U.S. Army at Fort Bowie and residents in nearby Wilcox and Bisbee. Pauline had 5 children who grew to adulthood. After she died giving birth to child number 7, neighbor Emma Erickson stepped in. Each morning, Ma Erickson washed the children's faces, fed them for breakfast, and sent them off to school or play. The children referred to Emma in that endearing way the rest of their lives. Emma's daughters, Hildegard and Lillian, purchased the property in 1918 after Mr. Stafford died. The purchase allowed the Ericksons to expand the Faraway Guest Ranch operations and gave them another source of income in the form of produce raised in the Stafford orchard and garden. Lillian sold the cabin and 25 acres to the National Park Service in 1968. On March 31st, 1975, this cabin was placed on the National Register of Historic Places. This building is one of the oldest log homes in Arizona. Between the Stafford cabin and Faraway Ranch house, this is where you'll find the aforementioned orchard. Over 2 acres, apples, apricots, peaches, pears, persimmons, walnut, almond trees. And they did have some good years. One year they received 2,000 bushels of fruit that they sold. This was in addition to what they stored and canned for use in the house. But unbeknownst to them when they first started, this area is not exactly friendly towards growing fruit trees. Spring frost killed a high percentage of the crops most years. And after Mr. Stafford died, the Erickson family took over the orchard and tried to keep it going. According to the National Park Service, some of the trees, the persimmon trees, still produce fruit. And because of the amount of water it would take, it'd be a full-time job to keep the orchard up, and it would attract wildlife to places where many people are traveling. The National Park Service has no plans to restore the orchard. And up to this point, I mentioned at the very beginning that if you just went to the parking lot to the Faraway Ranch, you'd see a lot of things, but you wouldn't see everything. Everything in this video up to this point you would miss if you just went to the parking lot entrance to Faraway Ranch. And as you continue walking, you come to Faraway Ranch. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about all the buildings that are there. It's a standard early mid-1900s American homestead. The real story is the people, Emma and Neil Erickson, came over from Sweden. Lovers, got married, started this ranch. The interesting thing, Neil wasn't very into being a rancher, so he tended to work other jobs. He struggled with farming, so he worked in Bisbee as a carpenter. I saw some stories about working as a mine engineer, and he was often leaving Emma alone for 2 or 3 months at a time. So the house, as the number of children grew, the house became bigger and bigger. And then someone came up with a brilliant idea and said, let's make it a guest ranch. So they had everything they needed. They had beautiful scenery, horses. It's 20 degrees colder than, say, in a place like Tucson, so it was a perfect place for people to go and relax. They even put in a swimming pool, gave horseback rides up through the mountains. Just a little quote from the brochure: a Faraway Ranch guest could explore the grounds, swim in the pool, or relax with a book. There was bird watching, hiking. They could take their picnic lunch up to Wonderland of Rocks by horseback. After dinner, guests might retire to the living room for music and Lillian's tales of the Wild Wild West. There is one unique thing to see at Faraway Ranch. From 1885 to 1886, members of the 10th Cavalry had a semi-permanent camp in the present-day parking lot of Faraway Ranch. At the center of the camp, the troops built a flag holder that was 10 feet high, 3 tiers, and made of local stone. The men carved bits of information about themselves into the stones and placed one large stone to honor the late President James A. Garfield. Just kind of goes to show that graffiti is not a modern phenomenon. And when the troopers left the canyon in September of '86, the people living in the area started to tear the monument apart, taking stones for souvenirs. Neil Erickson tried to restore the monument, but too many stones were missing. But the family convinced him that he should use the remaining stones to build a fireplace for the Faraway Ranch dining room. And this act of conservation saved 61 of the stones. Beyond the walking trail, there's a tiny cemetery at the entrance of Chiricahua National Monument. And this is where Neil and Emma are buried. Well, that's our trip to Faraway Ranch, the historic site here at Chiricahua National Monument. Now, normally the concluding part of the videos, I'm sitting at our boondocking site right now, and what you just saw was at the Erickson Cemetery. And that would have been the best place to do the conclusion to the video. In fact, I may stop right now for a second. But it was crazy windy out there. And even though I'm wearing a lapel mic with a wind guard on it, you would have never been able to hear me over the wind. It was that windy out there. Sorry for this dramatic shift in my position there, but all of a sudden the wind started really picking up. And then when it stopped, I started talking again, and then a car decided to come by. So let me see if I can get this in and wrap this up. When we're at I think it was on the drive home, Melody was talking about the Ericksons. There's this couple from Sweden, come to this America, come all the way out west. Could not have been an easy life, but now more people visit their graves than most people ever get visited at their graves, you know, not counting presidents and everything. It's just what they built, what they established here, and what's now the National Monument is going to keep their memory alive for a very long time. And people are going to remember them. That's just kind of neat. So, as usual, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Considering subscribing to the channel, maybe leave a comment, hit that notification bell so you know when new content comes out. Upcoming trips are planned for either Flagstaff or New Mexico, then later Colorado or Wyoming, this fall Oregon Pipe, Joshua Tree, if there's time, Mojave Desert. So that way if you hit the notification bell, you'll know when new videos come out. And again, thank you for watching. Have a blessed day.